so you can start with whatever amount of money that you want, right? And like I said earlier, like
Even 10 rand.
even 10 rand.
Oh.
Yeah, instead of saying I'm saving or I'm investing,
Yeah.
rather say I am an investor.
Okay.
Right?
Identity.
And the moment you change that headspace and identify as an investor,
Okay.
you should think like, okay, what do investors do? Investing is the one area where actually you have the opportunity of defining the future. And so if you make really smart decisions, yeah, you are the one that's creating and opening up a future.
Hey, yo, welcome to another episode of In the Making. So guys, today we got for you a special guest, but before I introduce our guest, I need to introduce your host, your favorite, Nigel Moyo. What's up,
Favorite?
bro? Yes, sir.
No. Yeah. Okay, sorry. Yeah. Today we have special guest. Who? Should I?
Yeah, most definitely.
I said investor,
Yes, sir.
app maker,
Okay.
IT technician,
Yeah.
brain.
Ooh.
Yeah. And he is Dr. Thomas Brennan.
Can I just say that in today's discussion, we're going to be focused on young people that are starting out on their financial journey and are trying to figure out ways on how they can get their income or salary to start working for them through investing. So if this sounds like something that you're interested in, then this episode is for you. Now, to introduce our guest, today we have Thomas. Welcome to the podcast, man.
Thanks, guys. It's great to be here. man.
Dr.
Dr.
Thomas.
Thomas.
Welcome. So going straight into it, Thomas, my first question for you is, what does investing mean to you personally? And what's the simplest way someone that's starting out can begin to make money from it?
Great question. I think what investing means to me is like self-empowerment. You know, I'm making my own future.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of people kind of feel that their future is out of their control, whether it's somebody else is telling them what to do at their work, or you know, you have family pressures. But investing is the one area where actually you have the opportunity of defining the future. And so if you make really smart decisions, yeah, you are the one that's creating and opening up a future for you, right? So it's financial freedom fundamentally, but it's in your hands. So I think to the next question is like, you know, how can somebody get started? How should they get started?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I'm the co-founder and CEO of Frank. We have a savings and investment app. We're licensed to provide investment advice, and we do so through the mobile application. And that's actually all you need. You just need your mobile phone or access to the internet. Okay. So I think the best way for people to think about getting started is, start building up a habit around putting money aside. And as you know, that's so important, right? It's getting into that habit, that awareness.
Yeah.
I'd suggest that most people just open a savings account. It's exactly like a savings account with a bank, except it's got a higher interest that you're going to be earning, and you can access your money whenever you need. So you can become more comfortable about the idea of putting your money in a place that's not your bank account, because I think a lot of people feel that that's where it's safest, right?
Yeah.
Putting it somewhere else where it's doing work for you. And once you've got a savings account and you've got some emergency savings and you can access that money, and you've proven to yourself that you can access that money, that it's not, inaccessible, then it's like, okay, let's start this investment journey.
Okay.
But obviously the critical thing about investing is that there's risk, eh?
Yeah.
So like you've got to be okay with the fact that sometimes it might be great and the money will go up, and sometimes it might come down a little bit. To not panic and not be like, oh my word, that money's like, you've got to appreciate that it's effectively, fluctuating, but generally going up over time.
Okay.
And if you're okay with that, that's what's going to lead to the largest growth potential over time.
So what mindset do you think someone needs if they want to start investing and can actually succeed long term?
It's a great question, man. And I think the mindset, the first thing I would say is like to think of the language that you use, right? Instead of saying, I'm saving or I'm investing, rather say, I am an investor.
Okay, identity.
Right? And the moment you change that headspace and identify as an investor, you should think like, okay, what do investors do? Firstly, they make sure that they don't spend too much money, that they actually have some money to to invest, right?
Okay.
So investors track how much money they're spending. The second thing they do is they make sure that they pay themselves first.
Okay.
So at the beginning of the week, at the beginning of the month, you should make sure that you are pushing money into your investment account, right?
Yeah.
That's what investors do.
Okay.
And then the last thing is investors make good decisions.
Okay.
They don't go to the casino. You're never going to find Warren Buffett at a casino.
Yeah. True.
Probably the most, one of the wealthiest investors in the world. Why? Because he knows that's a silly thing to do with my money,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
What do investors do? They make smart decisions.
Okay.
Okay, I'm not going to buy an individual stock or an individual, asset.
Yeah.
I'm going to diversify my investments. I'm going to buy,
An index.
the S&P 500
Yeah.
index,
Yeah.
which is investing in the top 500 companies in the US stock
US,
market. Or I'm going to invest in the top 40 locally because it's, again, giving me access to the top 40 companies in the South African kind of economy. So that's what investors do. So I say the mindset is actually seeing yourself as an investor
Okay.
and then building up the habits, tracking your spending, automatic investing, and kind of smart decision making about how to invest. Like, let those habits and that knowledge build up over time.
Okay.
Okay.
Can you speak more into paying yourself first? How often should you pay yourself first?
I think it's a great question. So my suggestion is I would set up kind of 2 payments. Okay. So the first is, money comes in and flows out in big chunks on a monthly basis.
Yeah.
Like your salary comes in on a particular date.
Yeah.
You have to pay your rent on a particular date. Maybe you have, you pay your cell phone bill or your internet on a particular date.
Yeah.
Those are big chunks of money. So I would say when those big flows are going out, make sure that you push some into your investments,
Okay.
right? So, I mean, a budget is an old word, it's an old concept, but it's having in a sense of okay, on a big monthly basis, know how much you're spending in the big categories and make sure that you carve out something for investment.
Okay.
Then the second thing I think is everyone lives on a week-to-week basis. Everyone wants to go out on a Friday night or do something fun on the weekend or have a few coffees in the week or whatever the case may be. And they've got their, they know how much transport they need to be spending to get around during the week.
Yeah.
So then you can kind of bring this idea of a budget down to your lifestyle on a weekly basis.
Okay.
So then I'd say, okay, on a Monday, say my budget is, I don't know, for the week, whatever, 1,000 Rand.
Yeah.
Okay, at the start of the week, I'm going to pay myself $100. Sure, that puts a little bit of a squeeze on the week, but it's a way of making your future a priority on a weekly basis. So that, when it comes to, sure, I could go out on a Sunday night and, blow my budget because I've got, whatever.
Yeah.
But actually, I have a dream of being able to retire early or go on a fantastic holiday or take my family somewhere or do something really nice for my partner, whatever the case may be. You've got to put those dreams into your head and then say, no, actually, I'm going to put some money aside for that dream.
How has implementing that, because I'm sure you have implemented that in your life, how has that impacted your life in a positive way?
I think the biggest thing for me is a sense of confidence. And the reason why I say that is as you know, I drive an old scooter, right?
Yeah.
But that is not a reflection of my net worth, right? My net worth is is an awareness of what's in my investment account,
Okay, cool stuff.
right?
Yeah.
And so I know that, sure, I have value that is intrinsic to me. It's I know what I'm worth. And so, having that confidence of going out is sure, I've got old shoes, I've got an old scooter, doesn't bother me. Why?
Yeah.
Because I know I've got an asset base. I've built up investments and savings, which is my money, which I'm in control of, which is giving me options about what I want to do in my life. Because I think the last thing you want is to have to be forced to make decisions that you don't want to do, right? If you're desperate for the money, then any job that comes by, it doesn't matter if it's pleasant or unpleasant, you need to take it because you need the cash,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Rather be in a position where you can choose. I want to do this because I love doing it. Or I want to do this because it brings me joy.
Yeah.
Like that for me is real freedom, right? Because you have the freedom to live your life according to the way you want to live it.
Yeah.
And obviously, because I have that investment base, I'm can start a business, which is risky, right? I hope it's a success. So far, so good.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's given me the freedom to take risk, right?
Yeah.
To choose the way in which I want to live life.
So was there a point in your life where you felt like you lived more for the external than for like yourself,
100%, man. And I think, I mean, we're all guys, so we can, talk about this honestly. But like, I think when you're a young guy, it's competition, man. Like
True.
competition for girls, competition for attention, like whatever the case may be. Like you have to present right in a certain way that's going to get you noticed or things like that. Like, so that beast is there. I think the question is, don't let that beast consume you, and don't let that beast be at the detriment of your future. Right? So it's like, okay, I'm happy to like invest in like whatever it is, a nice top or a nice pair of shoes, whatever the case may be, but I'm going to do so smartly. I'm not going to take a loan, right, to buy that, because then I have to pay back the loan. And so the shoes, if I bought them for cash, were maybe like 500 Rand. But now, because I bought them, whether it's on lay-by or on a store credit card or whatever the case may be, at the end of the day, it probably cost me about 1,000 Rand. Like, that's not smart, right? The far smarter thing to do is save up for the shoes. You got the cash, you buy it cash, you walk away, So that's what I mean is like, don't let that that beast, whatever you want to call it, for that desire to kind of like, present yourself. Don't let it consume you, and don't let it undermine your future.
Since we're on Drive, you built an investment app. So why was it important for you to build an app, and how does it solve the challenges people face when it comes to investing?
Great question. I think for me, I do believe that, your relationship with your money is a very personal thing. Just like the relationship with your health is a very personal thing, right? And as a result, what's happening with technology is things are becoming more personal, right? So your phone is how you communicate with your family and your friends. Your phone is maybe if you're, trying to get in better shape, if I'm a runner, so like I use Strava a lot. That gives me insight into how my fitness is, how I'm performing. I'm not an athlete, but, how I'm performing. Yeah. So I think that, saving and managing your investments is a very personal thing. Okay. You should have access to that 24/7. It's your money. I really firmly believe that nobody should be coming between you and your money. You should know what's happening. You should be able to make decisions about what's happening with your money. All of that speaks to an application that's sitting in your pocket, right? And as a business, our ambition is to be an advisor that's in your pocket, right? Because the same way that, unfortunately, if you get sick, you got to go to the doctor. You've got to travel to go to the doctor's office or go to the clinic to get their advice. Yeah. Wouldn't it be great if you had a doctor in your pocket? I mean, some people think that you can. You ask Google, but that has its own challenges. Now you could ask ChatGPT, but again, that has its own challenges. But I would like Frank to be a trusted advisor in your pocket. So like if you get a promotion at work or whatever, and, or you get a bonus and there's some extra cash that's come to you, what should I do with this? Why not just whip out your phone and be like, what should I do? And then you're like, cool, this money, you don't need it now. You've already got your savings in place. You've already got your TFSA or your retirement in place. Yeah. I think you should invest in like the S&P 500 because that's long-term investments. It's going to give you the greatest opportunity of growing this money. I think that's the right thing to do. Cool, great, let's go. Done, right? Yeah. And all of that takes 2-3 minutes of your time as you're sitting in a taxi or like, on your way to work, whatever the case may be. Okay. Like that's the future of how people should be interacting with their money.
Yeah. So is there a place in the application where you can actually go and ask it questions on, okay, I have 20,000 and I do not know what to do with it. So if I'm focused on the long term, what should I do with my money?
It's coming. It's coming. I'm
It's
very
coming.
excited,
Okay.
but it is coming, and it'll probably be out in the new year. So
Okay.
like,
Cool stuff.
yeah, for the beginning of next year.
Okay.
And I think the way to think about it, it's using AI,
Yeah.
as you can probably
most
guess.
definitely, Yeah.
But I think the real important thing is like the way that AI is helping is like we know who you are, right?
Okay.
We also know what goals you have, what you've already got in place.
Yeah.
So like I said, and even in the way in which I answered that question, that hypothetical, it's like you wouldn't make that recommendation if you didn't know that the person didn't have emergency savings and their TFSA in place for retirement. You know, because if they didn't have those things,
Then
that
you
is
need
the
to
first
start.
thing
Yeah.
to start, right?
Yeah.
So the advice or the encouragement about what to do is influenced by where are you, right?
Okay.
And we have a lot of rich data, and we've, you know, like 180,000 people data in terms of like who's doing what are they doing with their money.
Okay.
So we can use that data to provide a lot of context
Okay.
that allows the AI to be more of a coach,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
less of an advisor.
Yeah.
So it's quite clear that we can tell the AI to say like, listen, this is the order of priorities, right?
Okay.
The way I think about it, I think you may have seen those movies, you know, they talk about like they have champagne castles.
Yeah.
So they put all the glasses, right? And then they pour
Mm.
champagne in the top and the champagne just cascades down. You should think about your financial goals the same way.
Okay.
So the first one is your emergency savings. The second row is like your TFSA, your retirement annuity for long-term
Okay.
tax benefit, you know,
Tax
wrap
fund
products.
savings,
After that, it's your kind of your goals, your wealth, your whatever, your kids' education, your lobola, getting married, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
All you have to do is just keep on pouring money in the top. And there's this cascade, right? So like, okay, my emergency savings is now sorted. Next, let's put more money into my retirement. Next, you know, let's go create some wealth in the stock market. So it's actually not. I don't think people should get too worried about the complexity of it.
Okay.
We can help people make a decision to be like, where are you? Let's start you wherever you are, right?
Yeah.
And then just get you to build the habit of putting more money in, right?
Okay. So what would you advise between a tax-free savings account and a retirement annuity?
It's a great question.
Yeah.
I don't think it's either or.
Okay.
Personally, I think it's both. And if I
Okay.
were to say, I'd start off with the TFSA.
Okay.
The reason why, both of them are what they call a tax exempt from the investment growth.
Okay.
So that means the interest, the capital gains, the dividends
Dividends. Yeah.
that are generated from those investments are not taxed,
Okay.
which means that like, and over a lifetime, that can be significant growth, right?
Okay.
And so you don't want the tax man to have access to that. The tax-free savings account does have limits though. So SARS has said that you can only put in effectively like 3,000 Rand a month, 36,000
Okay.
Rand a year, okay?
Okay.
Which is a lot of money to a lot of people, but it
Yeah.
is also an upper limit.
Yeah.
And there's a lifetime limit of 500,000.
Okay.
So, you know, I think I've mentioned this to you before, but I opened like a tax-free savings account for my daughters when they were 1 week old.
Yeah.
And I've started investing in that. So putting in the sort of the maximum allowance even
Okay.
now, because the reason why is like you're giving a lifetime of growth potential without the taxman having any rights
Yeah.
to access that.
Yeah.
If you're able to maximize, it'll take you about 14 years
Okay.
before you can't put in any more money. Then you just leave it, right? You've invested the money, it's for your retirement, you just let it do its thing. You forget about it, best case.
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
That's where an RA can come in. So both of them are very good for long-term retirement type savings.
Okay.
The benefit of an RA is the contributions you make to your retirement annuity are what they call sort of like tax deductible. So it means it comes off before you get taxed. So you're reducing your taxable income, right?
Okay.
That make sense?
I'm not getting it, but
So let me take it. So the way in which SARS works is
Yeah.
SARS will determine your taxable income,
okay.
and then you pay anywhere from 18% to 40%, and it goes up in brackets.
Okay.
So like if you earn more, you basically pay more tax.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What happens with the retirement annuity is you're effectively reducing your taxable income. So where previously, before you made an RA contribution,
Yeah.
maybe you were paying, I don't know, 30% tax.
Okay.
But now if you made a very chunky retirement annuity contribution, maybe you reduce your tax rate to 25%.
Okay. Cool.
So there's an opportunity of paying less tax
Yeah.
as a percentage
Oh.
if you contribute more to your retirement annuity.
Okay.
Does it make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense, definitely.
And some people, that's important to some people, right? They may be paying a lot of tax, they don't want to pay as much tax, you don't like what the government is doing. There are a whole bunch of reasons why people would feel like that.
Yeah.
But it's important to know with a retirement annuity that there are strings attached.
Okay.
So what that means is like when you retire, any time after 55, you can only take a third of your retirement fund in cash.
Okay.
The other 2/3 have to go into what they call a living annuity.
Yeah.
So this is an investment product where it's like an old pension idea. So like you're putting money into a pot and then every month you're getting income from that.
Okay.
Personally, and this is a personal view, other people don't feel like this, I don't like anybody telling me what I have to do with my money,
With your money, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And those living annuity products, in my quasi-professional opinion, are often quite expensive for what you're getting. It's far better rather to have it in, hypothetically, the stock market,
Yeah.
where, as you may know, like if you invest South African dividends on an annual basis, are on the order of about kind of 2 to 4%
Okay.
every year you'll receive in dividends.
Okay. Cool.
So if you actually think of that, say your tax-free savings account, right? How much money would you need for, say, a 4% of that to be a living income for you, right? So that like every month you have enough income to survive on.
To survive on, yeah.
And that's a number. You could write that. You can write what you need. You do the maths to say, okay, 4% of what is going to give me that figure, right? And yeah, that's not an impossible number, right? The problem is, like I say with that retirement annuity, somebody else is telling me that, like, no, you've got to go put your money in there, and then I'm going to give you a little bit of money
Every month,
over time.
Okay.
So,
I have a question. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Sorry. How many times can I withdraw from my accounts?
So we encourage people to think of Frank as like an investment long-term thing, right? So we offer 4 free investments for an annual basis. Above that, I think it's like 10 Rand a withdrawal, so it's not a crazy amount of money. So the incentive, we're trying to use an incentive to kind of say, rather keep your money in. Like this isn't like a bank account. Sure, if you have an emergency, emergencies happen. If you have more than 4 emergencies in a year, like that's maybe you're more unlucky than most. But then there is that sort of small fee. But there's no limitation, right? If you want to access your money, you can withdraw whenever you want. You just go into the application and say, I want my money. On our savings account, it's a real-time withdrawal. So what that means is you'll get the money the same day.
Okay.
So like if you have an emergency, you need to, fix your scooter, for me, whatever, you can get the money same day.
I wanted to ask, are there any obligations if I'm starting out on investing on the app? Is there a specific amount of money that I should be paying every month, or is it something that I can just get into the app and start investing?
Yeah, there's no minimum, so you can start with whatever amount of money that you want, right? And like I said earlier, like
even 10 Rand.
Even 10 Rand.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think and the way to think about it is like to build a habit. That's the end game, right? For you to become an investor and to have all of the habits that are associated with being an investor.
Yeah.
So the best way to start any habit is to make it simple. So like start with your 10 Rand, man. Every Monday morning you set up on your banking app, I want to push 10 Rand into the Frank account.
Please.
Yeah, every Monday, set up a banking there. 10 Rand is going to go into my investments. And I think once you've started that habit, it's so much easier just to increase it a little bit,
Yeah.
right? Then it's like 10 Rand becomes 50 Rand, it becomes 100 Rand, becomes 500 Rand, you know? And I guarantee you, like if you keep it simple to start and small to start, you're giving yourself the best opportunity to build that habit, to become an investor.
Okay.
And the way to think about it, it's like, you know, a diet, or like wanting to run a marathon.
Yeah.
Like if you tell yourself that, you know, you've got to go and run 10Ks, if you've never run before in your life, can be a big thing.
Yeah, it's a huge
Whereas
thing.
if you tell somebody, go walk around the block, okay, I can go walk around the block.
Yeah.
And then that becomes like, oh, okay, I'm going to go for I'm going to walk around 2 blocks. Oh, I'm going to go for a 1 kilometer run. Oh, 5Ks. Like, you'll get there.
Yeah.
So don't feel anxious. The most important thing is just to start.
Yeah. So it's becoming 1% better every
Yeah,
time.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. So my last question to you, Thomas, is with the high employment rates, do you think there's still hope for someone who's unemployed but wants to start investing? If so, how can they begin?
It's a good question and an important question. And I think it came back, you asked me earlier, like, you know, what does investing mean to me? It empowers me. And if I can only imagine, if you're unemployed, you feel disempowered, right?
True.
You don't, like, you're at the mercy of other people.
Yeah.
And so it's strange to say, but it's obviously you want to continue to look for work and try find some work that you can do.
Most definitely.
But at the same time, even the small process of putting in the 10 Rand, right? You've got to think about it. I'm empowering myself.
Okay.
So in the balance of things, you know, like I'm unemployed. I'm feeling disempowered when it comes to my work or the absence of work.
Yeah.
But I'm empowering myself because I aspire to be
Yeah.
an investor. I aspire for a
future.
future which is better.
Yeah.
And I can do something for
Yeah.
myself that doesn't, you know, nobody else. I don't need to ask any permission of anybody.
Yeah.
I can take that 10 Rand that I have in my wallet and I can do something for my future.
Yeah.
Like, that's the difference, right?
Yeah.
So, and like I said, because there are no minimums on the frank app specifically, it's like, start wherever you can start, right? And if that means that you can only put in like 10 Rand a week, you put in 10 Rand a week, man.
That's great, because instead of gambling that 10 Rand, you can actually put it into Frank app.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think if you are like, again, you know, if you're gambling and you're hoping to kind of like win big, you know, I would say like, I'd suggest working on like a 90-10 split, right?
Okay.
So that means like 90% of the money that you have to save or invest or gamble, 90% should be put away into saving/investing,
Yeah.
right? Gamble with 10%, man.
Okay.
Because the problem is if you take all of the money that you have to save and gamble with all of it, the chances are you're probably going to lose it, right? And then what do you have to show for it,
Yeah, nothing.
right?
Yeah.
So rather take 90% of that money and put it into a saving or investment wallet. And sure, you can give yourself a little bit of fun with the 10% if you need to.
Yeah.
But like I said, you're never going to find Warren Buffett in a casino.
True.
Like, I don't gamble. I think it's a waste of money because it has, unfortunately, like the mathematicians call it, a negative expected return.
Yeah.
That means that like over time, the house always wins.
True.
And like, you know, investors know this.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, people that don't have that knowledge think that like it could be me. I could be the next winner.
Yeah.
And I think the tragedy is a lot of guys in particular are like seeing on social media the very rare occurrence when somebody does win, but because it's always being pushed to you, you think that it's far more common than it actually is.
Okay.
But actually, when you do the numbers, like
Nada, yeah.
negative expected return, man, you house always wins.
Do you think gambling is a South African problem?
No, I think it's a global problem.
Okay.
I think it's a human problem in the
Okay.
sense that, you know, we've got this dopamine reward system, right? That makes it an addictive practice. Like, you don't know if you're going to win. It's exciting. You kind of watch, and then like, you have this crash when you don't, you know, but then you look forward to the next time when you get that excitement and it comes back to you again. So that like feedback loop is, I think, the real problem. But that's like saying like, you know, we like salty food and sugary foods, you know, like it's the same
Yeah.
type of thing.
Yeah.
But that isn't it's not a bad thing. It's not a moral thing because like I like chips.
Yeah.
But the fact is I should know that I really like chips.
Yeah.
So like what do? Like I don't buy chips
Yeah.
because I know that I'm going to smash the whole packet when I've opened it up, right?
Yeah.
So it's like if you know that you're inclined to a certain behavior, the easiest way to do it is just to avoid it. Like avoid the behavior. Like don't even go there.
I'm just thinking also that, okay, I need to avoid the behavior, but I'm in a situation where my child doesn't have bread.
Even if you don't have bread and you're desperate about
Yeah.
that, I hear you, man. I think that like desperation is real, and a lot of people are in that position. The problem is then it's like you still come down to this like if money is so precious, you should actually be far more precious with it, which means that you shouldn't do anything that jeopardizes that money.
Okay.
Right? So it means like putting it into the safest place where it can grow the fastest and work for you as hard as it can,
Yeah.
right? Because although it's enticing to think that I could win, right? I could be that lucky guy that, you know, places that bet and then, you know, wins that extra money.
Yeah.
But the chances are, unfortunately, it's not going to be you,
Yeah.
right? And then you're in an even worse position, right? You're even more desperate now because the little money that you did have is now no longer there. So the better thing to do is rather think of yourself as an investor. What should an investor do, right? Make smart decisions with your money, pay yourself first, and obviously, whatever income you do have, try and earn more, and whatever money you are spending, try spend less,
Yeah.
right? Just try squeeze as much as you can to make sure that you, can have a better future.
So you basically advocate for frugality in a way.
Yeah, I think so, but I think it's like nobody wants to be a monk, right? Nobody wants to go live in a cave,
True.
you know? So like know that you're going to spend money, but just like be aware of what you're spending. Be conscious with what you're spending,
Okay.
right? Because I think the moment you don't have an awareness of how you're spending your money, I think then problems can creep in, right? Because what you don't know,
Yeah.
what you don't see, you don't know, and then you don't know that it's a problem, right? So I think just be deliberate, intentional
Okay.
with, you know, what you do with your money, which
Yeah.
doesn't mean you have to kind of be frugal,
Yeah.
but it's just being like, being smart and intentional.
Okay, cool stuff. So what are 3 books that you would suggest for people to start reading about finance?
Well, I'm writing a book at the moment, so as soon
Okay,
as that
cool
comes
stuff.
out, I'll tell you about that. I think books for me that were really interesting. He's an incredible guy, Warren Buffett.
Okay.
There's a book that came out called The Snowball. You don't have to read all of it, but I think like reading about Buffett as a young man,
Yeah.
it was just like remarkable to me because I hadn't lived like that at all.
Okay.
You know, I hadn't thought about saving from when I was young, when I was in my 20s. Where here was a guy, he started investing when he was 12, right? And like, who does that?
Yeah.
So like actually learning about like that man as an individual,
Yeah.
I thought was really interesting. I think something else, a book that I found really interesting recently is called The Psychology of Money.
Okay.
And I think what's interesting there is know that we all have relationships with money.
Yeah.
So actually understanding that you're not alone, that other people, you know, there's a history there, there's a psychology there that you should be aware of. And then I think the last thing, it's not quite to do with this, but it touches on a little bit of the gambling in a book that came out recently called The Dopamine Nation.
Okay.
But it's all about, again, this kind of addictive side of ourselves that manifests in many different ways, right?
Okay.
You know, like you can become addicted to Coke, the soda, you know, like you can become addicted to cigarettes, to gambling, obviously, but there are many other behaviors that can also latch onto you, right? And I think the empowering thing for me reading that book is like, that's just my body, you know, like that's not my mind. Like I should be aware of this tendency and then like work with that tendency and try overcome that tendency.
I have something to ask.
Okay,
Sure, of
cool
course.
stuff.
How do I invest and forget?
I think
So I put the money and then I forget that I put it just so I don't spend.
it's a great question. I remember when I was a kid, you know that game Monopoly,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what I would do, and it happened a few times, is every time I'd cash in or somebody would land on like a property, I'd just take that money and I put it under my bum, and I wouldn't feel it.
Oh.
And then like later on in the game, some difficulties would come, whatever, and all of a sudden I was like, maybe do I have some money? Check under my, and I'd come out with like a wad of cash. I think the trick is, in a simple way. Again, we're talking about. We can talk about the Frank app. You've got
Sure.
the app on your phone. I think the important thing is to set up the investment structure that you want. So like some savings, some wealth, a TFSA. So you've got those three things. You can set up what we call a deposit split. So that means for all the money that comes in, even the 10 rand, the 100 rand, the 50 rand, whatever, the money is going to be allocated to those different buckets in a ways that I want. Okay? Then you literally can take a step back. The one other element obviously is making sure that you've set up in your banking app to say like, okay, I want to push so much money on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, whatever the case may be. So then you can literally invest and forget, because you know that that money is just going off and it's being allocated according to your wishes. So then I do subtle things, right? I'd bury the app on your phone,
Yeah.
right? Create a folder,
Yeah.
put it where you're not going to see it.
Yeah.
Turn off the notifications, right? I mean, we will obviously communicate with you every time you get interest into your savings account. We let you know you've just had interest. Every time your money clears into your account, we'll say, hey, we just received 100 rand from you. We've invested that money according to your wishes. But if you want to forget, turn off the notifications, man, and bury the app. And then you literally know that the money is going off. You're not checking it. Because obviously people, like all of a sudden you've got all this money sitting there and be like, I really would love a new TV, like let's go buy the new TV. Like you kind of want to avoid that behavior. So that's how I would invest and forget.
And that's kind of something that I did with your app too when I was a little bit younger. I started investing when I was 17.
Yeah.
So when I just put in money, I just forgot about the app. And it's only a year later where I'm like, okay, there's this app. When I go inside, I'm like, okay, I got so much money, and that's something that I've basically reinforced more into my life.
We want to do this. So what questions do you have for us,
Okay. Yeah.
if you have any?
I have for you. It's not so much of a question, but like an encouragement, guys. It's fantastic what you're doing.
Thank you.
And I think that even like the title, In the Making, is spot on, right? Because like
Thank
we're
you.
all in a process of evolution.
Yeah.
We're all learning constantly, right? So it's like we are all people in the making. We're all guys in the making, So keep on encouraging people to see themselves as a project that can be improved, that the future can be better, because I think that's important. If you lose sight of the hope, if the desperation or the desolation becomes too much, life is hard, man. So you want to constantly look to the good, look to the hope, look to the positive.
Yeah.
So I can't say I'm inspired by you guys, man.
Thank you.
Can you do the outro today, my man?
Can I do the outro? No, I
Yes, sir,
can't.
yes, sir.
That was, let me see properly. That was Dr. Thomas Brennan,
Yes, sir.
investor.
Yeah.
What do you call this? IT technician.
Yes.
Can I say that?
Yeah.
IT technician. He owns an app.
Yeah.
So guys, check it out, the Frank app. And until the next one.
Yeah. Check out for the link in the description and for the app,
Yes,
of
for the
course,
app.
most definitely.
Yeah.
And stay tuned for the next episode. Thank you so much.